Changing the trail of exploring RC crawling? Well, guess what? RC Crawlers and Coffee brings you morning wisdom, the latest rig tunings, and pro tips that you'll need. So call to bed and stick around.
Welcome back, guys. Today we're at the RES Hangout Shop, and we got Greg and John. Introduce yourselves, guys.
Hey, I'm John, Rockland, California. Porkstar for, it's probably a year and a half, getting on 2 years now.
Yeah. Greg Bosworth out of Santa Rosa, originally out from Massachusetts. And Porkstar, about a year and a half, we got picked up at the same time.
Yep.
So, going about a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah. We want to get to know you guys, so give us a little background of how you got into the hobby and how you got introduced into pork belly.
Right on. Well, I'll kick it off. So I got into the hobby because of my kid, actually. So I got a son who's 6 now. And a couple years ago, he had a little brother who was born. And while I was on pat leave, we went to a local hobby shop and they had slot cars. So I took him just to go play with some slot cars. And we saw 24th scale, like RC crawlers on the wall, relatively cheap. I bought 2 of them right off the bat. And it just honestly started the kind of addiction right there. So it started with a couple 24s. I think within a month and a half, we modded them out with Amazon parts and all that sort of stuff. Started joining local communities and learning from people. And then 10th scale came. A buddy of mine loaned me just a kind of Frankenstein rig. Is like, hey, go check out 10th scale. And as soon as I put it on the rocks, like it just 24s were super fun and that RTR was cool, but 10th scale really changed things. And so started to deep dive into 10th scales, built out a 4-wheel steer Capra as my first rig. And it was kind of like this deep dive into this super technical thing and a little intimidating. There was a local guy up in Sacramento with Punks 3D. You might have heard of him. So we released this thing called the Stage Dive, and it was like this RTR transfer for the Capra. So got that and started digging into cheater rigs and what that world was all about. And then a buddy of mine, his name is Todd Lappin, started talking to me about these guys from the Bay Area that were making this stuff called pork bellies. And I started hearing this pork belly term kind of thrown around. At that point, I think the Classic had been released and a couple of guys locally had them, but it was really still kind of a niche, like underground type vibe around it. It was really kind of cool. And so when they released the PBX, I got really intrigued and I bought one, had some spare parts and kind of put it into it. And it just outperformed my kind of fully built other rig that I had spent like hundreds of dollars on and all this sort of stuff. And it was an immediate addiction. And so I started getting connected with Eric and talking to people on the team. And it just kind of evolved into a whole new world for me, to be honest, and learning all about pork bellies and the tuning aspect of things. I feel like the last couple of years have been a great learning experience. Super grateful for it. All the people that I've gotten to meet, the community that we're part of. It's dope. Honestly, like it's just super amazing to be part of this. And my son, huge community driven part of this, we love to bring kids into it. And so that introduction is awesome.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay. So I was big into RC when I was younger, always tinkering, modding. It was always like toy, like store grade stuff, like stuff you can get from Radio Shack where you can't really customize them stuff. I was like, can I put this motor in here? Can I do this? Can I do that? And just like always tinkering and stuff. Never really got into hobby grade when I was younger. But when I moved out here to California about 7-8 years ago, my current roommate, Jamie, he just randomly showed up one day with a Nitro Slash. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And that night I ordered up a 2-wheel drive brushless Slash. And I was like, all right, we're going to do Nitro, electric. We're gonna battle it out. So like that. Yeah, that's why I started. I made the mistake of putting the aluminum long arm kits on it and everything. It was like 2-wheel drive. It annoyed some guys at the track keeping up with 5th scale trucks. But I was doing that for a couple months and stuff. But I'd always wanted a crawler at some point. Like, I was looking way back when like TRX4 was just dropping, and there was also like the Red Cat Gen 8 in that time. Yeah, because this was when I got in. This was like 2.5 years ago now, something like that, when I had the Slash. And then just randomly when it's like, you know what, I want a crawler. So I just started looking on Facebook Marketplace and stuff and found a TRX4 Defender with a Jeep body, and it was a SCX 10.2 lightly modified. I was like, ooh, yeah, can you get those? End up spending way too much for them, realistically, like now knowing what they were. But just actually getting those first trucks and actually just crawling on the rocks, like, ooh, yeah, this is it. Not like go fast stuff is fun, but like having to go walk over, like, oh, the truck flipped over 50 feet away. I go get it. So like, the crawling is nice with the laziness that I have a little bit of, but it was also just like how technical you can get with the driving, and I was having a lot of issues with breaking stuff with the Slash because I made the rookie mistakes of the aluminum arms and everything. So the bulkheads were breaking axles left and right. And crawler, it stayed together. And it worked. And so I'd gotten first crawlers, and it was like December of 2021 is when I got those. And then I went to the New Year's crawl at Mount Diablo from the Diablo crawlers hosted by G-Speed. And that was right when the G-Shots were coming out.
Okay.
Or they just started around in that time. And I went with those, the TRX4 and the SCSN2, put a roof rack on them. I was going to start doing scale stuff. I was like, yeah, make them look like trucks. And then I saw the trucks, everything out of Mount Diablo, and all the G-Shots doing stuff. I'm like, oh, I want the performance. Performance is where it's at. And then immediately ordered, got a 4-wheel Stir Capra.
Yep.
And then started dreaming about it a little bit. And then a couple of, one of my local guys, Frank, he was building the G-Shot, and I was like, man, I want to do that. That's going to be expensive though. And he was like, well, do you have a 3-gear trans from your 10.2? You got Capra axles. Buy the links and then the chassis, and you're done. I'm like, so I ordered it, built it up, and then after a while, drove that for about a year and a half or so, and then I was wanting a little bit more out of it. I started looking for a new chassis. I was torn between the PBX, the high-low, and the CCW Reaper. And because I'd seen a couple of videos here and there on YouTube, it was, what was it? What video? It was a bark crawl. It was a classic crawling up a tree. I forget
was at
what.
the creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was just a tree line, and it was just like, ooh, that's doing things. And I ended up talking to this guy, and he was like, hey, man, that PBX is fucking sweet. Like, you got to try it. And I was like, I joined the Facebook group at one point when I saw the G-Speed, and just like the tuning and stuff that these guys were doing, of just the way they were actually going about the tuning. It's like, I'm doing a little thing of just widening the truck for a little bit more scrub radius, for a little bit more corner to corner reach. And it unlocked one of the lines that I'd done. I was like, oh, these guys know what they're doing. I want to be a part of this. And then after talking with this guy, I was like, yep, I'm getting that PBX. And it's been, I don't want to say downhill, I'll say uphill ever since. Because actually, they go downhill pretty damn good too. So,
Well-rounded, huh?
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I've seen the stuff you do. It's just crazy, unbelievable. Backwards, hang lines.
Upside down.
Actually, you know what? I was just talking to somebody about your crazy hangline rock. You're known for that. You're well known for that.
Flat Rock, yeah.
The flat rock.
Yep.
hang line.
The conga line.
The conga line.
Yeah, dude.
You know, it's like,
you're well known for that. Like people like say, "Oh, Greg from Pork." I'm like, "What do you know about it?" Oh, just that line, that hang line.
When we were at Proline last year, there's a couple of guys like, "Hey, that truck kind of looks like that truck from that video," and they're like, "Hey, that's the guy." I'm like, I feel so good right now.
You're that guy now. That's cool. Like you're literally known for that.
Yeah, it's the Greg line. I mean, honestly, it is, dude.
But it's just
the
cool.
Spider Pig line.
It's just cool to know that people like recognize you and they're like, "Oh, extreme pork belly right there."
Mm-hmm.
They just see you guys.
It's hard to believe that it's like went from a guy that doesn't like just started in, and all of a sudden it's like 2 years later, it's like, oh yeah, no, that I'm getting there.
It's cool. It's just part of the hobby that you get known.
Because like I definitely, it's weird to think about, but I definitely am to some people like guy Dan Thompson, because he was a big G-Speed guy and he was big with the G-Shot. I looked up to him a lot in the way his setup was, his driving and stuff. And now it's like, oh, I'm probably that person to somebody else at this point now. It's like
no lie, like that's how they see you.
Is that? That's weird.
It's
weird to think about.
You know that feeling when you go out to your local spot and the guys are like, "Yo, come try this with your rig because we can't." That's the vibe. And like, it sounds cocky. It makes me sound like a little bit of an ass, but it's true. Like we've pushed boundaries with these things, and we want to just do the wildest stuff. We don't care about comps. We don't care about your rules and what you want to do in your wheelbase limitations. It's all super rad if that's what you're into. We have respect for
extreme crawling. That's
but
what it
we're
is.
all about pushing it. Like, just what is the coolest shit we could possibly do with these things?
Yeah, extreme crawling. You're looking for the next line, the next hard thing to do.
It doesn't matter what it takes to get that line either. It's like, oh, I need a 15-inch wheelbase to hook that line. Well, I'm going to build a 15-inch truck.
Next thing you know, you guys are going up against MOA trucks and stuff.
I already do.
I was saying, like, you guys got the 2.2s over here. You got skinny tires,
dual motor too. This thing's basically a baby super.
That thing's insane. It's getting pretty wild. Yeah,
and that's cool. That's cool. Just that's awesome to see how this has grown and where it's gone to, and where you guys are taking it to.
The past 2 years, it's popped off. When
it's grown pretty quick.
Because companies like Deluxe offering the lightweight transmissions, all the silent ESCs with AM32, even EScape 32 coming up now. There's a lot of performance options, and there's a lot of performance that you can get at an affordable rate. And you can get on the rocks and you can just do some crazy stuff. And it's like, that's like a $700 truck. And it's keeping up with like $2,000 built comp trucks and of like all classes. It's like, all right. You couldn't do that 3 years ago.
No, it's just technology. Things just have ramped up so much. So many people just, mom and pop shops just bringing up new ideas, new things. It's just what's been popping everything off.
The innovation is wild right now.
It's beautiful.
It's fun to be in this hobby right now.
You know? It is. It definitely is.
Yeah. It was like would have been nice to like get into it like way back in the heydays of like when Tommy like the Clodbusters and everything when it was like just starting at the 10-1.
Can you imagine the technology we have now back then with all those things?
But then imagine that now. Like if we had that technology back 20 years ago, imagine where it'd be this day.
Even way crazier.
Like, because I want to see what it's gonna be like in 5 years, like from now.
Yeah,
like,
I never thought.
Where are we gonna be at? Like, what's that crawler gonna look like? Because like, is the comp like? Because I know the comp scene's coming back a good bit, like WRCCA stuff with the sportsman cars and stuff. They're making a comeback a little bit, but it's also like cheater rigs are really gaining some traction too. Like, it's becoming its own genre of build and everything. It's like
we never thought cage builds was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like
because it's even picking up on
first got into
with
this
poise and everything. Like Eric made one for the T3. Like those guys are loving it.
Mm-hmm. I never thought this was going to actually pick up, and I love it. Caged, awesome. Performance, it's just everything. It's like you're running no body, but you have a body. Yeah,
like,
you have some protection for electronics.
Yep.
But then again, it's nothing's actually
somewhere
in the way.
To put your stickers.
There you go.
Gotta have a spot for the stickers.
100%. That was an awesome way to do it.
Yeah,
putting the cage on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say the any of the rigs with a body are just its own thing. Like when I see you guys with the C2 builds.
Yeah, like my 1.5 with running the Power Wagon cab.
Yeah.
Like it's still like not much of a cab, but it's like it's a different vibe. And then when I was running the hard body, I was like, ooh. Like it's different options because you can lean against the bodies and stuff like because these are flexible and you can just mush them all over the place. So there's really not a lot there. You have like the slider you can lean on, but you can't really do much with the body. But like once you start running the Lexan and stuff, like your budget bug.
Oh,
like,
I love that thing. Yeah,
you can
put it
use
right
that
up on the door.
Advantage, like do door digs or like where you just lean against the door and the truck just pivots on the door, and because you can do it with the sliders on this, but it's like your position is different, so your tire position is different. Like more likely to get the tire bound up in something, but the hard body you just flow right past it.
It reminds me we're doing the Power Wagon bodies with boat sliders.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
This vibe.
Yes.
It's a feel on the rocks, and it's even getting better now because if you're putting the newest stuff now, like before I had a 2040, but I never had a Holmes V3 before or a Rhino 40. Now like things are getting lighter and lower and then more efficient or whatever it is, and we're even doing the tuning, like more flex tuning, and then putting it back on a classic or an OG or the 1.5 or the new pork belly or whatever. That belly dragger style is still a style. And it feels away on the rocks. Like the 60-40 geometry and a belly dragger feels like a hot rod to me.
Yeah, it's
right?
classic.
Like, yeah.
It's what started
It's a
with cheaters.
A lot of people think like you have something like a Sporky or something. It's like, why would you ever want to drive that? But it's like you drive it and it's like, it's just so fun.
It's different.
It's a different
Yeah.
feel. My 1.5 will do lines that my Sporkies cannot do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that belly's
It's
nice
true.
and low and center. The weight balance, so you can pivot on the skid. You just like, you hang up on the skid, but then you can just sit there and you can pivot on it. And it's
Yeah.
like, you can do things that you can't do with a forward skid chassis, especially like the extreme forwards. Like,
It's a different challenge.
Yeah.
And it feeds into the obsession of how you start building rigs for different stuff.
Yeah,
It's just like it's true. Like you have we start to get to the point where you have a rig for certain stuff you want to do,
Like
And
certain
that's-
lines.
and then you go to the level of you bring out different tire combos and wheel combos and
Mhm.
weight combos, and adjusting your weight ratio on the fly by throwing on aluminum wheels on the front instead of carbon. Like you can get so nutty with this stuff, and I think that's like honestly the funnest part about being part of the res community for me. Is somebody who came into this with no background in RC or driving or anything like that. When these guys are talking about this stuff, like I feel like I'm going back to school again, and it's cool to learn new things. And if you're interested in a community where the vibe is about sharing and not like this super competitiveness of I'm going to keep my secrets because my shit is good and I don't want you to have it. We're all about like making everybody better. And I think that's like it's a vibe. Like I've said multiple times tonight. It's just like, there's something about our community that is so welcoming and friendly, and we all want to help each other that I haven't seen it in other parts. There's a lot of negativity in RC for some reason. There's old school guys and mixing with new school and a lot of different opinions. And I think the thing about res is respect. Like we have respect for everybody and what they do, and we're just a little different and weird, and we like it that way. And a lot of, we get a lot of hate. It's weird because we're so not that way about others. It kind of, it's just a trip sometimes. Like, but that's why I stick around with these people.
A little bit of the confidence that we have in the product as well, because it's like
Really.
it's like, no, that can't work. You can't have a truck that flexes like that. Your shock geometry's gone all over the place. You have no shock tuning. It's like, it opens another window of shock tuning because
different.
it's like I say, it's like you can go heavier on your shock oil because you have damping in the chassis, or you can go lighter. You have
Or
more
shorter
room
shocks.
of chassis
Because
tuning,
the
I should
chassis.
say. It's like it's a system. It's instead of you just having your shocks as your suspension, the whole chassis is your suspension. It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, you guys just said it perfectly. It's the community that wants everybody to grow and like do better.
Mhm.
As a community, we're doing better. Everybody's going to do better,
'Cause it's
and it's just
almost
going to push everybody
Almost
forward.
as much fun and as much joy of getting your friend up that line as you getting up that line. 'Cause it's like you see that work and see him trying to figure it out, and you see all the pieces of the puzzle coming together, and just like, yes,
It is awesome because say you do it one day,
Mhm.
I helped you, and then the next day I'm having trouble. You see what I'm having trouble with.
Mhm.
You help me.
Yep.
It's like we're both helping each
The-
other. We're all growing.
that Linda Vista line,
Yeah. Yes.
that line.
Let's not talk about it.
But
Or are we talking
but it
about
is
it?
awesome.
Yeah.
It definitely is an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Let's get some questions real quick. Just
Yeah.
something we've been doing for a while. I'm gonna pull this up on you guys. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Don't even, you get no sort of idea what's coming. I don't know. I've seen a few
All right, cool.
podcasts.
All right, so it's gonna be pick one and go with it.
All right.
Brushless,
Brushless.
servo on axle, servo on chassis,
Servo on axle.
straight axle or portal axle,
Portal.
hard body or Lexan.
Can I? None of
No,
the
no,
above?
you gotta do
Pick
or
one.
the other.
Pick one and go.
Lexan.
Lexan, okay. 3S or 4S,
For
1.9 or 2.2,
2.2.
Gates, trail,
Trail.
110 or 124,
110.
dig or 2-speed,
Dig.
3-pin servo, direct power servo,
Direct power.
scale crawling or extreme crawling,
Extreme crawling.
and someone you want to see on the show next.
Hmm.
Could be someone we know, someone we don't know, anything. Somebody you want to see on here.
Someone I want to see on here.
Yeah. No, that's
Um,
a hard one for me too.
Who's the dude from SoCal? Red?
Red?
Yuka. Yeah. I want to.
Yeah.
I don't even know
okay.
what that dude looks like or anything. I just watch his gnarly videos. That dude is extreme. I want to
I'll
hear what he
connect you.
talks. I want to hear about it.
Okay, there you go.
Last time I was down here,
Eric stays in to connect us.
the
We'll
lizard
try
wizard.
double
He's
stack.
the desert lizard wizard.
he came out. He stopped at Bean Hollow for like How long was he here last time? Like he at Bean Hollow for maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And he
Maybe-
just immediately just one shot of the Devil's Crack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just showed up with his
like, if there's one line, I gotta nail this, and then show me 2 other lines.
Yeah,
like,
came up,
okay,
he was like, "Hey,
let's go.
like, where's the entrance?" Here, I was like, "You do this, and that's your line." And he just drove it, and he was like, "Yep, just
Cool.
trust it, and just do it." And like a little adjustment here, a little adjustment here, and it just walked right up and was like, "Yep,
Nice. All right, cool.
Yep.
Then we'll work it out with Eric to get him on.
Yeah.
yeah."
Bread.
All right, yep.
Yours.
Oh man.
Brush, brushless.
Brushless,
Servo on axle, servo on chassis.
servo and axle all day.
Straight axle or portal axle.
Portal.
Hard body or Lexan.
I gotta go hard body on that.
Okay. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
3S or 4S.
4S,
1.9 or 2.2.
2.2.
Gates or trail.
Oddly, Gates.
Gates. Okay. 110 or 124.
10.
Dig or 2-speed.
Dig.
3-pin servo or direct power servo.
Direct power.
Scale crawling or extreme crawling.
Extreme.
Who would you want to show next?
Who hasn't been on? That's a tough one.
Could pull anybody.
I think he's been on. JT,
He-
you've been
he-
on. a
he-
podcast,
he hasn't.
Yeah. Oh, then, yeah. Let's go, JT. Because I was thinking,
Alright.
like, trying to like think of like who on the team hasn't been on as well.
Somebody trying to be quiet back there.
Yeah, but like actually, like
Yeah, he needs
Like-
a full interview.
the interview. Yeah, let's get that.
Okay.
Boom.
JD then. We're going to work on that one. Who wants to do the 124 questions?
124th questions?
Yeah.
I don't have a 124.
So I guess I would be because I do have a 24.
All right, cool. Then let's see. Brushed or brushless?
Brushless.
What's your favorite servo on a 124?
I've only used one at this point, so it's going to have to be the one that I have, which is the AFGRC purple label, which is a 7.4 kg. But
Alright.
that's the only one. So,
Cool. 2-wheel steer or 4-wheel steer?
and that probably 2-wheel steer.
Okay. Hard body or Lexan on a 124?
Can I say TPU hard body?
Oh.
That is hard
'Cause-
body.
'cause-
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
drove
Oh,
Sean's,
dude.
and that was
You gotta
amazing
say,
because it was
yeah.
like it had the weight and everything of the hard
So
body, to use
good.
it, but it just didn't break.
That's actually
So
a
I
really
was
good
like,
one.
can we?
It's a hard body. It's really
Yeah.
good.
There you go.
Favorite motor?
The only motor I've used at this point is a Mini Komodo, and it's not my favorite. So the one the
Which one
Micro
do you wanna
Komodo,
use?
I've driven that
Micro.
a few times. The Micro
Micro
Komodo.
Komodo?
Yeah,
All right.
that one's solid.
2S or 4S? Oh, wait. Yeah.
Oh, no, 4S. No, I run
4S.
4S in my 24.
4S 924?
Yeah.
All right. You're the first one that said that.
Not upset about that.
Gates or extreme crawling with 124?
Extreme crawling.
Favorite axle?
The Muse Isokinetic plus force.
All right. Nice. And how many 24s do you have?
I have one, which is technically two. I have the PB24 and then what's left of an AX24.
You're the first one that's actually said something like that. Because everybody says like multiples.
Yeah, no, because I got into the 10 scale originally, and then actually I drove JT's 24 at Linda Vista, I think probably almost like 8 months ago now. Something like that. And it was so familiar, and it's like the price of 24s is so much better to get into. So I was like,
It's very friendly.
I could build a 24 for like built for like $500.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, and have exactly the performance I was just having. I was like, yeah, no, let me do it. I'm having a little bit of issues just figuring out the quirks of 24s with the motor pin and or the motor shaft size and the pinions and the gears, and not everything is really standard.
Well,
and like,
You definitely
labeled
have
out.
experts to help you out.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
no, it's super because
So take advantage.
it just worked, and I'm just having a little bit of issues with the motor tuning and ESC tuning where stuff like that. But in terms of everything else, it just went together, and it's like without these guys, I would have been sitting there like, what do I do? And having the resource and community of Res is amazing to be able to just like, yep, this is going to be a setup that works, and you can just put it together, and it's going to work,
Yeah.
and
True that.
and it's going to assemble. It will perform, and it will be fun.
And I don't have a 24, but I'll pitch that we were testing our PB18 right now.
Hey, yeah.
And having a lot of fun with it. Just got this bad boy tuned up, and we'll give her some testing tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you like about that one?
I like the size a little more. I think, going all the way from a 10th to a 24th is a little intimidating. I don't like them little screws, to be completely honest. Like, working on them is a little bit
The
of a pain in
shocks
the
act
butt.
completely different too, where there's not
They
really
do.
much damping.
Yeah. So this is like a kind of a middle ground. I like it. And I haven't driven it a whole ton. It feels like it needs a little bit more weight in the front. We're probably at 50-50 right now with where it's sitting. It needs some weight up front for sure. But it'll work. I think.
Nice. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
something smaller. Cool. Any more questions you want to ask?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I definitely want to say thank you so much for this.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
want to see
Thanks
you
for
on.
having us on.
Oh,
course.
definitely. It's been actually a while we've been trying to get you guys on here.
Yeah, because I was in that the pork belly revival.
Yes.
That watching that back with our shenanigans and what we did to make that thing run. You guys should go watch that.
Yeah. Part 2's coming out. So,
Yeah, I was waiting
so-
for that part too because
Yeah,
it's like
it's coming out. Got to build that
we-
anticipation.
the shenanigans got worse.
Oh, yeah. Yes. That was.
It was
was the story
We do
right
not
there.
recommend, but we do ourselves.
Oh, we're talking about twisting chassis in half?
No,
Almost blowing up chassis.
Oh, yeah.
Burning
we
it.
had some sparks.
That was the beginning.
made
Of
That
it.
was normal.
That was the beginning of it.
Well,
Yeah.
Sketchy.
you guys can find out.
Yeah.
But definitely. Awesome.
Stay
Thank
tuned.
you guys so much for this. And anything you want to say before we get off?
Smash that like and subscribe.
Ooh, 100.
Yeah,
Hey, you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Catch you guys on the next
Later,
one.
guys.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of RC Cars and Coffee. Did you get the trailer you're aching for? If so, join us next time for more RC wisdom and pro tips. Till then, happy growling!